It is Tuesday, June 18th, 2019, and this is the Bottoms of the Barrel Comedy Showcase here at Shakers, 3160 North Clark in Wrigleyville, and we are in Ground Zero tonight. There is a Sox game, there is a Cubs game. I don't know which one it is, I just know. Oh, they're playing with each other. Interesting.
Oh, shit.
Interesting. Why is it when I wanted to play with each other and other teams, no one let me growing up? Okay, so a round of applause. Who here are Cubs fan? Who here are Sox fan? Who here doesn't care? I don't know. I always do the gay joke, like, you know, if I can take your man, he may not be worth having. This isn't a situation where he's a Sox fan and you're a Cubs fan, because if I can take your man, you're not getting the touchdown you deserve. Oh, balls and bats, I got that wrong. It's okay, I've gotten many things wrong now, like, I try to keep up with current events and be aware of what the news are because, you know, my grandparents were in the camp, so I don't want to repeat their history. I just don't. It's like tick-tock. I'm not Hispanic or a child, but they will cage me at some point. I know this. But am I the only one who, like, you stop reading the news when you realize, like, the people you're reading about have children and you can set them on fire? Am I the only one? Am I the only one who wants to have like a Molotov cocktail party on election night in 2020? At a building that man likes to put his name on. Some people say that's hate speech, and I'm like, no, I'm already flaming. Someone else will light the match. Goodness, I've drunk so much today, I thought that was a game behind me, but it's just a neon sign. Are these colors even right for the Cubs? It sucks. No. For the listeners at home, I am pointing at a Miller Genuine Draft neon sign with orange and yellow. Yes. All right. I don't know if Miller Genuine Draft is good. I always feel if all you're going to do is buy me a beer, you're not going to buy me a date. I know that. What? Oh, it's good. Yeah, Phil, you're never going to take me out. You're never going to take me out. So, I'm your host, Thomas Bottoms, and we're here tonight at Shakers. We've got Jason, the owner, behind the bar. Round of applause to Jason. They have $4 well drinks tonight. If you're not drinking, feel free to buy me a drink. I drink vodka. That's my little black dress that goes with everything. Some people have tried to provoke this, like, oh, vodka and prune juice. It's like, that's called a colon blow. We're good. We also have $3 domestic bottles. Those are probably the Miller High Lifes that I'm like, yeah, if that beer has heads, you don't get none. And, too early, too soon. And then we also have $4 Jaeger and Fireball shots. And if you don't drink, you can buy me a shot. I have no problem with you keeping me liquored. Life is too short to be sober. Yes. Amen. So since the news makes me want to do homicide, I took it upon myself to watch shows that don't require me to think. And I began to watch Paradise Hotel. Don't worry if you don't know what this show is. It got canceled after the 4th episode, and then it was like, oh God, we have to actually wrap this up, don't we? It's a show where they took 5 men and 6 women onto a resort. They got to meet, and then they got to decide who they wanted to sleep with. Literally share a bed with. Okay, I'm picking my boyfriend. He's the cameraman. What you guys gonna do? Who are you gonna pick? And I didn't recognize the guys' names, but I could recognize them by the nipples, and because they're always shirtless during the interviews. And somehow at the end of this, and I did finish watching it, you would win $250,000. And I don't know how you would win that other than passing an STD test. I don't know. I never thought I would have so much high morals. Now, mind you, there were 3 people from Chicago. 1 said Streeterville, 2 said Chicago, but you looked at the woman, you were like, Burbs! Chief of New Lennox. Bombs! So anyway, the two Chicagoans paired off, and 2 weeks into the show, there was a special surprise as a woman was brought in. His non-committal girlfriend he spent the night with the night before he flew to Paradise Hotel to promptly share a bed with another woman for 2 weeks on national television. I don't know how anyone is in their relationships, but if any of those words work into your relationship, you need to reconsider that relationship. I can't be the only one. So we're gonna go ahead and get this going. Are we excited? Are we ready for our first comedian? I was gonna say mean, hateful things, but I think I'm already done. No, I'm not done. Am I the only one who noticed that Trump took like 4 of his kids to meet the Queen of England, but little Barron had to stay at home? Okay, it's June and your father's the president. Don't act like you have to go to school. Like he brought out that little brat when Kathy Griffin held a disembodied head. Oh my child, oh my child. Well, now your child isn't cultured. Is that a shock? Is that a shock? And people are speaking out also. I'm going to just start right there. People are speaking out. They're angry about, there's something called in public libraries, drag queen reading hours, where drag queens go to the library and they will read books to your kids. And people are angry. They're like, oh, this is leading the way to Satanism. And I'm like, no, that doesn't make much sense. I definitely trust kids with a drag queen in a library where everybody's watching them than, you know, on a Boy Scout retreat or in church with a priest. Our next comedian, I don't think he's rude, crude, and socially unacceptable, but he has hair I would kill for. Give a round of applause for Raza Jafri!
How's it going, everyone? Making a lot of assumptions about me. It's because I'm Muslim, huh? No, alright. I'm dating someone right now, which is nice. You know? Yeah, it's interracial, which means I'm better than all of you. Right? That's what that means. It's hard dating interracially, right? It's different cultures, different religions. I grew up Muslim. She was raised Catholic. It's hard dating someone you know is going to hell. I think that's hard to reconcile. I don't know. I found out she's been lying about her orgasms. Oh. Yeah. We had sex the other day, and afterwards she's like, Raza, I didn't come when we had sex. And I looked at her, I was like, really? Are you lying? She's like, no, I'm trying to open up to you. I'm like, you're lying. And then she said something, but I was asleep. So, alright. I feel like that's a guy thing to do, you know? It's like follow up afterwards. Like, hey, by the way, did you come? Because I was really focused on my part. Alright. I ask mid-fuck. I just get it out of the way, you know? Oh, oops.
Mid-boink.
Alright. I ask mid-boink. I get it out of the way. My inner call center comes out, you know? Like, Madam, do you have time for a brief survey? Alright. Okay. I don't know. I'm living in Logan Square right now, which is nice, you know? I don't know. Logan Square is nice if you want to live next to all races of people who are otherwise exactly the same. You know? I've never looked at somebody in Logan and thought, I wonder what his politics are. That's never happened. But it's cool, I guess, you know? It teaches you things. Logan Square has taught me that you can be quirky and weird and still be so unremarkable. I think that's special. I don't know. I look like I live in Logan Square. That's what my girlfriend says. She says I look like a Bangladeshi Harry Potter, which is not... One, that's not a compliment. And 2, I'm not Bangladeshi, so it's kind of messed up. I don't know. They did make different versions for different regions of Harry Potter. I don't know if you know this. Just to connect with local audiences. In the Bangladeshi version, Harry's parents still die, but it's in a factory fire at the Nike warehouse. Yeah. Nah, you gotta make it relatable. All right. I don't know. Let's see. I am not remembering the rest of my jokes. I don't know. I had a roommate when I lived in Logan Square, you know? He was an activist. And he was also depressed, you know? And that's a really irritating combination. I didn't even know you could do both of those things, you know? I don't know how you could sleep for 16 hours and still talk about how woke you are. I thought that's like the bare minimum of wokeness, you know? Just being awake. I don't know. I don't have depression, you know, so I don't really know how to relate to it. But I feel like the hardest part of depression has got to be the compulsive need to tell people about your depression. I don't know. All right. I'm not a doctor, but I thought depression was a realization that you mean nothing to anyone. So why would I want to know? Yeah? He called me the other day. He was like, Raza, I'm going to commit suicide. And I was like, man, there's a hotline. You gotta stop calling. Alright. See, I could be bottom of the barrel. Don't let this button up throw you off. Yeah? I don't know. No, I don't mean that. If you have to, get help. Don't. Alright. That worked. Yeah, I grew up Muslim, which is, progressive, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't always Muslim, though, I mean, I thought I was, but I was actually Mexican until 9/11. No, because nobody cared in the 90s, You tell them, and they'd be like, all right, you're coming off a little strong right now. I have my own conspiracy theory about 9/11, I think it was a bunch of Muslims who were tired of being confused for Latinos. They all got together like, we gotta do something about this. And then they did. I'm not saying it was a good thing to do, I'm just saying, perfect execution, right? Like the first plane went in, I was like, ay caramba! And the second was going in, I was going to say, goal! Alright. That joke usually does not hit. It does great in Yemen. That's my closer out there. I don't know. I'm Muslim. I'm not Saudi though, right? It's kind of a silver lining. You gotta give credit where credit's due. Even other Muslims are like, I don't know about these Saudis. What are we, all Saudis in here? Jesus Christ. You know how I know you guys aren't Saudis? It's because there aren't 15 Bugattis parked outside. No clear sign. You're not from the kingdom. You don't look like you own a Bugatti, ma'am. Sorry, I don't know. The people of Saudi don't ride their bicycles to a comedy show. It's not something fun to do when you've got oil money. Plus, it's really hard to ride a bicycle in that white dress that they're always wearing. I don't know. No, I don't get Saudis, I don't know how you could be that wealthy and still be that Muslim. But I guess it's true what they say, right? Mo money, Mohammed. Hey, give it up for bottom. Thomas.
Raza Jafri, everybody, give a round of applause. I relate to being in an interracial relationship. My boyfriend's half white, half black, and from Detroit. As I like to say, he's all the brother I need. But people wondered when I was started young, because when I was in 4th grade, I started playing the string bass, and that meant I liked them big and brown. It's okay. But Raza, I commend you for your depression. I do. I had a friend one time say, "Oh, Thomas, I think you have depression." And I looked at him and I'm like, and did you pay for your college degree? Because you're passing off common sense as wisdom. I did get kicked out of my support group though. We were doing an exercise where you are dying now, and what would you say to your younger self? And people instantly started crying. Yeah, they were like, cherish your loved ones. You don't know how long you have them. Pursue your dreams. You can accomplish anything. They got to me, I said, and then now, honey, it don't get no better. And they're like, how can you say that? I'm like, look, if I'm dying now, I want to go out on a high note. And they called security on me. And as I was being dragged out, I just kept screaming, remember, it's down the road. I just kept screaming, remember, it's down the road, not across the street. Down the road, not across the street. Our next comedian. I guess there's 800 number lines you can call if you are really that. They turn off Fox News. Turn it off immediately. But whenever you call them, they're always busy. I don't know. All right. Our next comedian coming up, she's going on tour tomorrow, Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. Give a round of applause for Katie Zane.
Thomas, you're so sweet to call it a tour. You so nice. So, Raza, you made me think about a bunch of different things. A lot of things. So, yeah, when I was in high school, 9/11 happened, when I was, 9 days into my 12th grade year of high school. And I remember I was over 9/11 so fast. I got sick of people saying 9/11 within, 2 weeks. And I really didn't know how long that was going to stick around. I really had no idea, because I just remember, I'm from the D.C. area. The girl that sat in front of me in government class, her dad died in the Pentagon. I should have had a lot softer heart about this, but no. I was I would sneer at vigils, the candlelight vigils going down the street. I'm this country's the worst. I don't know. I was just there was so many American flags in my hometown. It was I was not okay. I actually I was already a pretty angsty anti-American teenager, so it just fueled my fire. But yeah, the other thing that I don't Thomas, did you say something about autism? Or am I just No, okay, cool, I didn't hear that. Oh, you were talking about depression. Sorry, that's what it was. Okay, so yeah, one time, actually last year, I thought I was autistic for 6 months, but then it turned out I was just really depressed. And I remember I tried to convince my therapist that I was autistic. I was no, but I am though. And I kept giving all these excuses. It turns out there's a lot of stuff that has to do with trauma that looks just like autism. So yeah, that's cool. That's just a real thing about me. So yeah, I'm gonna be flying in the morning, and it was actually really funny because I was talking to one of my roommates, and I was packing, and I was walking towards the door. I don't even remember what was going on there. But we were talking about, when you check in for a flight and you get on the plane and all that crap. I have a cane, so I get to pre-board. But I also, something that's weird that's happened to me since that has been part of my life is I have, a huge resentment against people in wheelchairs. It's not cool. Disabled people should be on each other's side, but instead I'm why are there 10 people in wheelchairs on this plane that each have 4 people with them? I am such a jerk too. I hang out so close to the host stand, and I'm just yep, I'm gonna be the first person on this plane. Screw your wheelchairs. I'm gonna be the first person on this plane. I'm so there for it. So one of the things I really realized recently is that I am constantly late for things because I am always masturbating. I pick really bad times to start the activity. So when I was a little bit younger, I used to do this thing where I would take NyQuil and then masturbate and see how long I could do without, falling asleep. And now I think I do that when I have to go places. How long can I masturbate before I will actually leave my apartment? It's 45 minutes, I think, or something like that. I don't know. Women have it made. We can masturbate forever. It never gets old, too. You're never oh, I don't want another orgasm. Oh, no, I shan't have more. I should not keep doing this. No one thinks that way. People only stop masturbating because they have something else to do. That's the reason. Okay, so I really realized recently, I have some pretty crappy luck. I had a benefit the other day and a car ran into the bar where my benefit was. I was supposed to go and do a show at the Comedy Shrine the other night, and I took the metro for the first time, and it caught on fire. like the metro lines were on fire, and so we couldn't leave. And I was like, of course. And I kept apologizing to all the commuters around me. I was like, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. This is my fault. I've never run the metro except for today, and this is my fault. I'm really sorry that you're not going to get home. This poor woman was like, I'm going to call an Uber. And I was like, how much does an Uber from Chicago to Aurora cost? Like, yeah, I know, right? Actually, I do know because I did look it up. It's like $60. Yeah, no, it's awful. And so and then today I burned half my fingers with grease. Because I'm an idiot. Like I dropped something into oil with my fingers. That's how you burn your fingers. Don't do that. But I was also thinking about just my luck. Like I burned the two of the fingers that I need to operate my cane. I can't put my whole pinky down right now. It's not happening. All right. Anyway. Let's see. I work for this guy who is an artist. I get to work in an art studio. It's actually super rad. But he's doing the keto thing. And so he recently was like, oh my God, I'm so hungry. And I was like, of course you are. You've had one taco. And I was like, but I have Snickers in my purse. And then I realized in that moment that I am the fat woman who always has full-size candy bars in her bag, at all times. And I also always have weed, so either way I got you. See, the thing is eating all those candy bars makes you heavier, right? And you can love yourself, but that does not mean you do not have health problems. Fat positivity does not fix your cholesterol. That's what I've learned anyway, because mine is still not okay. But the other day, I watched someone else run for the bus, and I took a deep breath for them. And I was hacking and spitting and coughing, and I was like, okay, did you run 2 miles before the bus? Because I am also taking credit for that. I am exhausted. So exhausted. And then if you don't mind, Thomas, I'm going to get out on this one last little thing. A couple months ago, I was going on a Tinder date and I found out that I had HPV. And normal people, when they find out they have an STD, they're like, oh my gosh, I have to tell people, be an adult, society, those types of things. Not me. I was like, heck yeah, I have HPV. Except for I didn't say heck yeah. Said the thing that I can't say. And the reason for my enthusiasm was that I've had herpes for 15 years. And I've been on socially unacceptable island for 15 years. And now I'm on HPV island with everybody else. Probably everybody in this room. And if you didn't laugh at that, that's okay. You have HPV, go to your doctor. I've been Kitty Zane, thanks so much.
Yay! Katie Zane, everybody, give her a round of applause. She burned her fingers that she has worked down to the bone. I don't fault you, Katie. I don't fault you. It's just, I can do hardcore by myself. I'm still waiting for romance. My boyfriend's the cameraman. Round of applause for my boyfriend, Mikey Chip. We've been together 7 years. Yes. He liked it so much he broke another mirror. We do live together. We have 2 cats. That's because we don't want children. I don't want to deal with anything I can't euthanize. Yeah, whenever we think we might possibly want to have children, we just go to Walmart on a Saturday afternoon. We're cured. But you mentioned the Uber from Aurora. I actually one time took an Uber from Bolingbrook to Chicago. It cost $60, but hold up. I somehow ended up in a hotel, in a McMansion in Bolingbrook that had 4 gay couples, 1 gay single, a hot tub with questionable things floating in it. And I had to sleep on the family room in an open room. I'm fine sleeping on the couch, I'm not above a couch, but I did have an issue when the guy kept opening the door, walking out naked, looking at me, because I woke up, I heard the door coming, I'm scared, looking at me. He would then go back into his room, get dressed, go out, and then go to the bathroom right next door. Now that happens, we all know that happens, But I just don't think it should happen 3 times of you walking out naked at an hour and a half before 6 a.m. and being shocked that I am still trying to sleep on the couch. And if he was asking for something, he needed to ask someone else. I don't know if that was right of me to spend that money, but I still have my virtue. Our next comedian, I don't know if he has virtue. He's shaking his head no. He's been a guest on my radio show. He is fairly new to Chicago. Give a round of applause to Eliot Mack.
You guys, I'm so screwed. Have you ever tried to do comedy really tired before?
Yeah.
Like, what are you supposed to do? Like, oh my god, I just want to go to bed right now. But that shouldn't be all of your problem. But for the next 5 minutes, it probably is going to be. So if you don't have eyes, I'm gay. I also have no ass. So that's no fun. Being a gay guy with no ass is kind of like being a totalitarian leader with no army.
Yeah.
It's like, what's he gonna do? Like, really? Go ahead, try. Like, yeah. But no, there are good things in my life happening. I have gay dads. Applaud that. Yeah. Dilma's gone, people. You have to applaud now. It's great. No, it's cool. I was one time out after curfew when I was in high school. I was like 17, and my dad texted me just like any other dad, and he was like, "Blah, blah, blah, where are you? You're in so much trouble. You get home right now, young man." And was like gonna bring the hammer down, and I was like, "Well, I'm screwed." But I told him very truthfully. I was like, "Dad, I'm with our quarterback right now. He's experimenting." And he texts me back and he's like, "Oh my god, I'm so excited for you. That's amazing. That is just the envy of every gay guy. I'm so proud of you. This is a dream come true. This is a testament to the time we live in. You go, girl." And then like, we'll talk about it in the morning. If you need anything, text me. And then like he high fives me the next morning. He's like, "Up high, down low, run the butt." Good job, sport champ. It was great. Like, he knows like how big of a deal it is. So I'm home now from college. Just graduated, and I'm living with him for the time being. Thank you. And it's interesting. Like, on one hand, he's my dad. He's great, but on the other hand, he's a gay guy, so I have to spend time with him. I was seasoning chicken the other day, just like cooking, and I was just using, salt, pepper, other seasonings, whatever. And he comes in, and he's like, "Oh, Elliot, I got the best poultry rib on Sky Mall. You just have to use it." And I was like, "Oh, no thanks." And he was like, "Oh, okay. You just know everything. Just like your mother." I was like, "Dad, I just didn't want to use your rub. It's fine." For anyone confused, my dad and my mom were married, and then they got a divorce because he was gay, and then they co-parented me. A lot of people like asked about that. So there's no joke. I should probably have one. What else? I can't wait till like I'm my own gay dad though, so I can force my son to do drag. I'm gonna be like, "Now you're so lucky you get to do this, cause I never could. You're our family's little star, and we sacrifice everything for you. Go on, baby, get out there and wow them judges with that choreography. Remember, baby, winning ain't everything, but wanting to is." Like 800 pounds. Like, it might be the McDonald's, but my little heart is stopping for you right now, baby, and you're making it beat again. How much time do I have? Can I ask that? I have a little story.
3 more minutes.
Oh, okay. I'll just go over. So I was at the bar recently. I was at my favorite bar, Bo. And I met this. Have you ever met somebody at the bar and you see them and you just lock eyes and you know it's on? Like, literally, we made eye contact and that connection was so strong we could have shared files over Bluetooth. Like, it was intense. And we were like this distance from each other. I keep like trying to look away, but he's still there. He pulls me in, and I'm like, "Oh my god, you guys! Like, this is on." And like, I could tell he wanted to kiss me, and I was like, "You know what? Let me take 2 seconds to not be a thought just yet and ask his name." And so, like, I do, and I'm like, "Oh, what do you do?" He's like, "Oh, I'm an environmental lawyer." Like, I studied environmental science. Like, that's my FCC regulated word. I was like, oh my god, so you fight against like Chevron and stuff? And he's like, well, not exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, so you fight for Chevron? And he was like, I fight for what the client tells me to fight for. Oh, how I wish I was quicker to anger. This man, literally, I like try to go through like, like environmentalism. I'm like, oh, so like you're not an environmentalist. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry, do you drive a car? I was like, well, I have to for my job. I work for this nonprofit. We install energy efficient light bulbs and water efficient. Well, real environmentalists take public transit. I was like, oh, well, he's like really hot, and so I'm like trying to save the situation. Because, maybe I misunderstood. Maybe like it's like just not going right, and like this is really hard for me because like like my conscience is pointing one way, but my dick is pointing another, and so like I'm like really trying to figure this out. I'm like, oh well, I've been a vegetarian this year, and he's like, well, I've been a vegan since I was 12. So you were bullied, that's why this is happening. But so eventually I'm just like, oh, okay, like how can you like call yourself an environmentalist? Like this is ridiculous. And his friend, and my friend also, Joe comes over, who's really hot, tall, statuesque, etc. And we had hooked up, and he's like, oh, sorry, Eliot, Greg's a bottom too. Oh! And I'm not a bottom, I just bottomed for him because I liked him. And like, I know it might seem like I'm a bottom because I'm being really sensitive about the situation, but like, it's a sensitive situation to be in. Like, on one hand, like, this is happening, but on the other hand, like, I have my morals, and Chevron's really not a good corporation, so I'm just trying to do my best to, like, do what's right for the world in this moment, but also, like, a little bit horny, and, like, I want to kiss him, but I don't, so I don't know what to do. And there's no end to the story, but I'm really confused about it, so I've told it a lot of times at open mics to try and, like, rationalize what I did, which is nothing, and I feel like I didn't help. Thank you, you've all been great.
Eliot Mack, everybody! Eliot, you're one of those cute gays that I would openly point out, like, yeah, my butt's bigger than your head. I was bottom heavy before J-Lo, honey. I'll work for this. Wow, the dating scene is so horrible, because, I one time met someone who voted for Trump, I'm like, oh, God, no, No, we can't talk. We just, no.
You met them, but your relationship has been going on for 7 years.
People still talk to me. Just because the merchandise is under lock and key and you can only look at it from a distance doesn't mean I can't take a compliment every now and again. I'm not that bloody ugly. That's true that Trump was a bit questionable. Prior to this starting, they were playing Richard Marx, Right Here Waiting for You, which is a song that one time a one-night stand played the morning after the night before as I drove him home. Wherever you go, whatever you do, I will be right here waiting for you. And that's when you realize, like, oh, I should not have given him my phone number. Ooh, I did not think this one through. Now, our next comedian, he always thinks through. He's been on my radio show twice now. He knows how to be rude, crude, and socially inappropriate. Give a round of applause for Dustin Drew.
All right, what's good, y'all? How's everyone doing? Everybody good? That's good. I hope you guys are doing better than I am. I had a little bit of a rough week last week, A lot happened. Like, for example, I hit a guy on a bike with my car. Ooh. And it was an accident, but it wasn't intense because I hit him. It was intense because I kind of felt good about it afterwards. Because he was doing that thing that bikers do where they think they're a car. And it was starting to get on my nerves, and in addition to that, he kind of flipped me off. Which, look, if you're on a bike and I'm in a car, it's probably not a good idea to flip me off. Like, I'm in a 2-ton metal death machine. You're on 2 wheels powered by nothing but determination. But yeah, I hit him. And after I hit him, there was this weird carnal bloodlust. But at the same time, I was like, oh, they're going to pass me around like a blunt once I get to prison. So he got up, luckily. Like, he got up, and the wave of, like, just relief came over me. But I don't know if you almost killed a man before. but dude, it's like not pulling out, but no one gets pregnant. It's so great. Speaking of pregnancy, I saw a baby.
Oh my god.
That was a thing that happened. And I'm kind of one of those. I'm getting tired of pretending that people's babies are cute. And this was one of those babies you look at and you're like, you sure that's a baby?
We were lawyers.
Either that goblin is a baby or that baby is a goblin. Either way, I don't think his eyes are supposed to do that. Like this was one of those babies that even Alabama would look at and be like, okay, ma'am, you go ahead and do what you have to do with that. We'll just do this and just do whatever you have to do.
Wow.
Oh, shut up. Oh my gosh. I also had an intense week because I'm kind of figuring out that I really don't have that many friends. And I figured that out after I was sitting and I was thinking about what I had to do during the week. And besides work, all that I had to do was see my therapist. And I got legitimately excited about that. I was excited to see my therapist, which says a lot that the happiest point of my week is me talking about how sad I am. I had a white guy call me the N-word. Yeah, that happened. I had a white guy call me the N-word. But he said he could say the N-word because he was Irish. Which, one, no you can't. Two, what does that even mean? That's like walking up to a burning building and someone being like, hold on, I can put this out. I'm from Detroit. Okay, so do I blow you now or later? What's supposed to happen here? I've been working on losing weight. That's another thing. No, it hasn't been going that good. I've been working on losing weight, and it's difficult because I'll run, I'll go to the gym, I'll eat kale, which is pretty depressing. But the minute I even look at a slice of pie, I can feel my pants starting to get tighter. And like, I don't even really have a significant goal for losing weight. You know, like I have no goals for losing weight. I just want to get to a point in my life where I can bend over and pick something up without ripping my pants. I want to get to a point in my life where I can get into a pool and then take off my shirt without parents covering their children's eyes. I want to get to a point in my life where I can walk past a mirror and not go, Jesus Christ. Because I sometimes forget what I look like, and when I remember, I become this horribly awkward mess. Like, I become the human equivalent of, enjoy your meal, sir. I'm fine, and you? And my family does not help with that at all. Like, my family really doesn't help. Like, for example, recently I was at a family gathering. Now, at this family gathering, there was food, and I'm sitting there, and I'm putting food on my plate. Now, admittedly, this was my third plate of food, which means I'm one plate away from being a family. And one thing about my family is that they love to talk stuff about you, you know? Like, they love talking stuff. And I could hear them, like they think they're being subtle, but I could hear them. And behind me, all I can hear is, God dang, that boy's hungry! Which kind of made me feel like trash because it kind of made me feel guilty for eating. Which didn't really stop me from eating, but like now the salt of my tears is what's seasoning all the food. I'll tell this one last joke. So there is a part of me that kind of wishes I was white. Don't tighten up on me right now. Part of me kind of wishes I was white, but not for the usual reasons like privilege or anything like that. No, I want to be white to do the kinds of things that white people do. Like retry a high five and not feel like a jackass afterwards. That is cool. Like, I remember one of my friends that comes up to me and he's just like, Dustin, we're going to need to retry that high five. Except this time I want you to look at my elbow. And see, I didn't know this, but apparently if you look at someone's elbow when you high five, the high five will always go perfectly. That's some beautiful science right there. So, I'm sitting there, and when our hands touch, it is the most incredible feeling in the world. And I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, that was incredible. What power allows you to discover these things? And he looks at me and he goes, I like to call it white power. All right, y'all, that's my time. My name is Dustin Drew. Thank you.
Dustin Drew, everybody, give him a round of applause. Yes. We're gonna bring up our next comedian. We have Jessica Stamas. Yay!
How's it going, guys? All right. I'm gonna start out with a confession, if you guys don't mind. My dad is. I know this is FCC regulated. My dad is a Republican state senator.
Oh.
Woo! Yeah. He is. He's a Republican state senator, and his brother was also a Republican state senator. I have politics in my family. And we're from Michigan, don't worry, he doesn't affect you at this moment. But growing up, my brother and I, we fought over anything, say we were fighting for the last piece of dessert, we had to put it to the voting system. And unfortunately, we both got an equal vote, but because he's older, he always won. He always got the, wow, I'm blanking. He always got the electoral vote. That's what I was looking for. Fudge. Yep. It's fine if you're in my family and you are not a Republican. You just have to move out of the voting district. So that's why I am here in Chicago. I've been dating recently. Dating's fun. Yeah. We like porn in here. Yeah, this is a room full of mostly men. You like porn. You're on your phone. You're probably looking at it right now. So, No, I'm not much of a porn person. I'm more of a spank bank kind of gal. Some people think, maybe that might make me a prude. I think I'm just scared that I might find something of myself out there. I might be a famous porn star and not even know it. But I think being a spank bank person, don't get me wrong, it doesn't make me slutty. I still have all the tabs open, they're just in my head. We got Asian persuasion. We have big tits, big dicks, slim dicks. Can we see dicks? Sorry. Anyway. You guys use Tinder? Yeah, I use Tinder. Yeah. My favorite part of Tinder is when you get to unmatch somebody. Because it gives it, right? Yeah, it gives you a sense of power a little bit. But my favorite part of unmatching somebody is Tinder, like a very insecure ex, is like, but why? And it gives you options, like, was he, and it mentions he, I don't know. Anyway, was he offensive? And you're like, well, yeah, it's Tinder, but that's fine. But my favorite portion of that is it gives you the option to say other, which I think is just an opportunity to be honest about why you really unmatched that person. And so, I like being honest. He ghosted me, and I'm really sad about it. I got drunk and messaged him, and I am too nervous to see how he responds. That's how that goes. Oh man, but sometimes things work out. Sometimes I was sexting somebody recently. Yeah, sexting's fun. And he said, "What do you like?" And I was like, "Ooh, I could go for a good spanking right now." And he said, "What's that?" Yeah. At first I was like, man, this guy had a really great childhood. He just, he's not into that. That's right. And then I looked back and I realized that I had not said spanking. My autocorrect had changed it to spanakopita. And I should have prefaced, my dad's side is Greek, so that is not, that is a word that I do know. It means spinach pie. So it wasn't wrong, it was just poor timing. I played it off, guys. I said, that's Greek. For spanking. It was great. It was great. I donated my kidney recently. Thank you. And a lot of friends and family are like, oh my God, that's so amazing of you. I don't know if I could ever do that. And you guys, I know. We can't all be heroes. I don't know what to do with that hero title though. I'm just waiting to, like, do I get a discount? Do I get, like, privileges when I go on to planes? Do I get, like, priority boarding? No, I do not. I went to the doctor's 2 weeks after my surgery, and it was just a standard checkup, and doctor said, everything looks good. Do you have any questions for me? And I said, yeah, I do. When can I have sex? And she looked at me up and down, and she's like, you can have sex, but don't get too crazy. like she looked at me like she looked into my soul. She was just like, just be careful. I donated my kidney to my aunt, and as most Midwestern aunts do, she posted to Facebook. And over the holidays, she said, I am so thankful, guys. My God gave me a kidney for Christmas. And I had to tell her, like, no, Aunt Angie, I'm not God. I'm just a hero. And that's my time, guys. Thanks so much.
Jessica Stamas, everybody, give her a round of applause. And those who were playing on your phone, did you find her father?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Jim. You talked about Tinder, Jessica, and I've known about the apps for a while, and things are so convenient nowadays. They really are. It's like I knew his manhood before I knew his name. They just, am I the only one who gets those pics? No, it's different in the heterosexual world. No one is showing everyone their Harry Potter wand. No, okay. Now you also mentioned porn, and what's really odd is I used to work in a sex shop in Boys Town, and I sold porn. And then I started recognizing people on the street who were actually in the videos. It's odd. And then there's sometimes like you just go on the internet. I'm like, oh my God, I used to work with him. Am I the only one that I am the only one that's ever happened to? All right, now someone you can't be ashamed of seeing is Jason behind the bar. Hi, Jason. We've got the $4 well drinks, $3 domestic bottles, and $4 Jaeger shots and Fireball shots. So remember to keep well liquored, and if you're not drinking, go ahead and buy me a drink. A gentleman at the bar bought me a drink. He didn't roofie it though. I was hoping, but there's no roofie. So we're gonna bring up our next comedian. Give a round of applause to Aaron Burzak.
Thank you. Give it up for Thomas again for hosting this. It's great. Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I will never not refer to the male anatomy as a Harry Potter wand moving forward. That is great. Hi, I'm Aaron. I'm very excited to be back here in Chicago. I was recently driving cross country, which was fun. And on a particularly long day on the road, I got to my hotel. And the first thing I did to relax is I jumped up and sprawled out on the bed. And I immediately regretted that decision because this bed was damp. Yes. Oh, it is exactly what you think it is. It is. I pulled back the sheets. The yellow stain confirmed my nightmares. It was kind of awful. But to the credit of the hotel staff, they handled the situation very well. What they did is they upgraded me to a much larger room at a severely discounted rate. And I had inadvertently discovered the greatest scam known to travel. Yeah, that's right, guys. All you have to do after your check-in is pee your bed. Yeah. Call up and complain, and then you can reap the savings Travelocity alone simply won't provide. Yeah. It works. It works. It does. But that is dishonest behavior. It's certainly not how I was raised. So what I do is I wait until checkout and pay it forward. Yeah. All right. That's good. The reason I was traveling, though, I was going back home for my grandmother. She had her 90th birthday, and we had a big family reunion party to celebrate, which was fun. And I was excited for it because, truth be told, I had lost some weight and really wanted someone to notice. And sure enough, not only did my grandmother notice, she paid me the single greatest compliment she's ever given me. She said, "Aaron, you're looking healthy." Yeah. But then she followed that by looking around at my sister and cousins and going, "Unlike the others." Yeah, that's a cold thing to say. That's very mean. But what you need to understand about my grandmother is that she is 90 years old, which means her childhood was the Great Depression. Yeah. Now, she survived that, went on to own and operate her own department store in a time when women in business was unheard of, all while raising a family of 3 kids on her own. Yeah, no, she's the strongest person I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. And the truth is, if you live 9 decades of that life, only to stare on to your family legacy and realize it's the stoner jackass kid leading the pack, oh, you're going to be bitter. You are. 'Cause here's the truth of it all. I've had every opportunity in life she was never afforded, and my ambition is clever dick jokes. That's just about it. Well, speaking of, did you guys know there are 2 drastically different definitions for the term skeet shooting? Yeah, it's true. Imagine my surprise when my friends invited me out. They all have shotguns and clay pigeons. I was holding a bottle of lotion. It was a very embarrassing moment. You know, I had a completely different pump action in mind. Yeah, good. I was raised in the Catholic faith. Any other Catholics here? Yeah. That's about the excitement you'd expect. It is. It's not a fun religion. You got very uncomfortable wooden pews. You're always wondering if you have one of those priests. It's unnerving. But the one thing I did like being raised Catholic was Easter Mass. I did enjoy it because there was a special song the Catholics sang on Easter that went, "Christ is come, Christ has risen, and Christ will come again." And I always thought that was really dirty for church. Yeah. Right? Yeah, Christ has come, Christ has risen, and Christ will come again. What else do they expect me to do for 3 days in a cave? It was, it makes sense. It makes sense to me. A lot of things didn't make sense to me growing up, though. I'll admit, I wasn't the brightest tool in the shed. I didn't understand birthdays. I didn't. I had a misconception there. You see, my birthday, it's on June 8th, whereas my little sister, her birthday is March 8th. Yeah, so growing up, I figured that's just how siblings worked, right? Yeah, everyone got a different month, but the same day. That way you know your family. It made sense. It made sense. Now, as an adult, I know that's just silly. I do. But I also know March is exactly 9 months after June, and I do not appreciate how my parents celebrated my first birthday. I was blowing out a candle, and my mom, yeah, she was blowing. You get it. You get it. She got it. And that's why I have a sister. Which is fun. I've been out there though on the dating game. A lot of people have been talking about Tinder tonight. I know it's got some negative connotations, but I've always figured it's just the same as any other time-wasting app, just with a much better reward system. You know, and I don't know, it can be kind of fun. I always like what people put in their profiles. Like I read one girl's profile that read, "I'm genuine and sarcastic." Yeah. And apparently doesn't understand the definition for at least one of those words. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know, still swipe right, she was cute. Anyway, my name's Aaron. You guys were fun. Thank you so much.
Yay! Aaron Burzak, everybody! Whose mother did not blow out the candle on his birthday. We're going to give a round of applause. Our next comedian, he is a name around Chicago. I'll let him speak for himself. Give a round of applause for Marz Tims. Yeah.
I am a name around Chicago. You're all names around Chicago. Did you see that? I tried to talk into this beer real quick. We're all names around that. $3. Get some. All right, let's jump right into this. I don't know how about the rest of the people in here, but I myself have never seen a Confederate monument. Never. That is, unless you count the sign in front of KFC. That kind of is a Confederate monument. Like, do we all get into this lie that Colonel Sanders has 7 secret herbs and spices? He was a plantation owner. He wasn't cooking his own food. He doesn't have 7 secret herbs and spices. Someone who worked for him may have put those herbs and spices in there, and the colonel was like, "Oh, mama, this food sure is good. What is your recipe?" "Oh, Colonel, you know I can't tell you." He was like, "I'm gonna make some money off this." And he reaped all the benefits. And she had all of his kids, and oh yeah, we're gonna get all into it. That's right. That's history, ladies and gentlemen. That's history. I am a very well-read person. At least I try to be. I read the other day that from 1864 to 1868, Chinese immigrants broke records laying train tracks in the United States connecting the East Coast to the West Coast. And after reading that, I was like, wow, is there a version of that song, "I've Been Working on the Railroad," in Chinese? Right? Because you hear that song, and it's in English, but it's like, if they're laying all the tracks, it's gotta be in Chinese. Then I read even further, and I read that in 1898, the first version of that song was published as a Negro minstrel, which means black people were laying those train tracks too, except they were singing, "I've been working on the railroad," and the Chinese were like, "No, we are working on the railroad. You are too busy singing." I like your laugh. It's gonna pick it up right on this microphone right here that is penis level. That's what I think would anyway, so. Yep, my this body right here is brought to you by lactose intolerance. I don't know how many other people in here are lactose intolerant, but yeah, we have a couple in here. Yeah, man, it's awesome, except when you love milk like I do. I'm a milk lover. I like it. So I have to, in order to not get all bloated and pukey, I have to take a lactate pill before I enjoy milk. It's like a Plan B pill for lactose intolerant people. Yeah. No, I like it. And when you tell people that you're lactose intolerant, people usually get all weird, and it turns into like this weird drug deal where it's like, "Oh, I hear you're lactose intolerant. You ever tried almond milk?" Relax. Yeah, I got a whole trunk load of it. Come on, get some almond milk. It's like, no. Like so much plant-based milk out there too. You walk in the dairy section, there's all sorts of plant-based milk. There's almond milk, there's soy milk, there's rice milk, there's hemp milk, which I'm guessing you sip like. So much plant-based milk out there. They even have pea milk now. Yeah, I heard a what? Yeah, not P-E-E, P-E-A. Yes, one you get in the dairy section, one you get at R. Kelly's house. Okay. I'm a milk lover. I like drinking milk. I need more milk. This body needs milk. I'm all for diversity, except when it comes to milk. Then I'm like the KKK. I want it white, pure, and bad for minorities. That's how I want my milk. That's how I want my milk. Like when I was growing up, they would put missing kids on like the sides of the milk cartons and stuff like that. Have you seen me? And being well read, I read up on it. They profiled 77 kids on the sides of milk cartons. And out of the 77 kids they profiled, they only found one. All the others were expired. That joke was rotten. All right. Oh, there it is. Write that tag down. Okay. Cool. So like Thomas said, I am a name around Chicago. My name is Marz, like the planet, except with a Z. My father named me. My sister's name is Denail. D-E-N-A-I-L. Like I've got the hammer, I've got Denail. The weird part is that my father's name is Robert. It's like, why would you do that to your kids? You have a normal name. And everybody in the family knows that my dad named us after a planet and what sounds like Italian furniture, yet he still got to name other kids in the family. He named my cousin's son Trebor. That silence is the appropriate reaction to that. My father's reasoning? My name's Robert. His name's Robert too, but it's spelled backwards. Yeah. So because of that, my cousin has to go around with a name that sounds like he's a ghetto robot from the future. Doesn't make sense. But now we know why he's dyslexic. My name is Marz Tims. You guys have been great.
Marz Tims, everybody! His backward named cousin. I had an aunt who did that to a niece. She gave the niece her name and it was backwards. But the aunt's name was Hannah. Our next comedian coming to the stage is Kent Looze.
Thank you. Hey, how do my eyes look? I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. I took a bunch of mushrooms at 1 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. What I've learned is it is way easier to shroom when you're the man of the house. Like I used to be like I've had bad trips when I was younger, but like now I make all the rules, right? It's my house. Like when I had kids, you know, when I first had kids, I was nervous. You know, maybe they'd wake up and see me, you know, catch me, and I'd be shrooming out. Now they wake up, I'm just like, hey, close all your eyes and go back to bed. It's fine. I make the rules, right? Like, if they catch me doing shrooms, guess what? The new rule is Dad does shrooms. It's my house. And I can go just like relax in the bedroom, let the walls do whatever they want. It's my house, man. The walls get out of line. Hey, knock it off, walls. It's my house, man. Some of you guys probably can't do that. You know, if you're younger, when I was younger, sometimes I wasn't in my house. I wasn't in a safe environment, you know? When you're younger, your walls can kick you out of the house. Yeah, be careful. But I actually wrote a couple of jokes. I wrote a couple of jokes I cleared with the FCC here, but after riffing about mushrooms for a couple minutes here, I can only do one. So I need you guys to pick them, all right? You guys get to pick. We got sperm or beat the crap. And I need you guys to shout it at me. Let's do it. Come on, louder. I can't see. Sperm. Later. So Father's Day was the other day. My dad's favorite saying growing up was, "You can't have your cake and eat it too." I never liked that saying. Because like we were poor and hungry. And in my mind it's like, look, if you got cake, you gotta eat that cake. You're just wasting cake. But we got mixed signals. Because if you eat cake without having cake, that's stolen cake. And the one thing my dad hated was a thief. That was his second favorite saying. The one thing I hate is a thief. And my dad was half a crook, but he would like as if everything else was forgivable, but the one thing he hates is a thief. Like you could knock him down, and you could step in his face. And look, I'm not gonna drag my dad's name all over the place, but the one thing I hate is my dad. He was terrible, guys. I remember when I lost my first tooth, he flicked me a quarter, told me a tooth fairy's not real. Then I caught him sticking my tooth under his pillow trying to make a couple bucks that night. Yeah, I was terrible with money. I was a terrible negotiator. Saw the worst negotiation ever. My dad's friend was going to sell his old Camaro. So my dad asked how much. The guy's like, I don't know. I'm thinking $2,000. My dad goes, shoot, I'll give you more than that. I'll give you $3,000. Looked at him like, Dad, you're never going to Six Flags, am I? It's my money, man. So my wife, she tells me that the hand soap at her work stinks. Right? And I'm like, that sucks, right? You don't want your hand soap to stink. But she's like, no, babe. It stinks like sperm. Oh. And she used the word sperm. That's the word I'm going to use. Oh. She's the expert. So she says, stinks like sperm. But like she's a teacher. Who can she complain about this to? Right? And then she tells me one day, she goes, Tammy came up to me at work and she tells me, have you smelled the soap? And I looked at her and we both locked eyes. And she's like, and Tammy goes, it stinks like sperm. My wife goes, it does. And they're like sharing it. And I'm like, I got two questions here. First question. How does Tammy know how my sperm smells? Secondly, whose stepmom is Tammy? Oh. No, seriously. My wife's a teacher. I didn't know she had a single coworker named Tammy. Tammy's not your work friend. Tammy's your after work friend, right? This is fun. So on my way here, I killed a possum. Oh. He was just hanging out on the side of the road, so I pulled over and beat the crap out of him. I always wonder what people picture too when I say that I pulled over and punched the spirit out of a possum, right? Like, do you picture me like a Cadillac or like jumping out of a convertible, right? Do you picture a possum or an opossum? They're different. Two different animals. I was researching my victim. Possums, this tall, they only live in Australia. They're like little fat kangaroos. They actually keep their baby in a pouch just like a kangaroo, but they only live in Australia. Opossums, with an O, hang out on the side of I-90 and get dealt with. Good night.
Yay!
You can edit that out.
Can't lose, everybody! Yes! Talking about his wife knowing the smell of sperm, but somehow he can't figure out how to put it back in the hole. We got a microphone, technical difficulty. It's okay. Now, is your last name pronounced Looze?
Real name. Yeah.
Real name. Okay. I had a moment with that because I remembered in the 80s we had a abstinence was cool in the 80s. It was cool. We had songs about it. We had a Janet Jackson, Let's Wait a While. We had a, oh God, I know I can't forget his name. And he had that great big song like "We Don't Have to Take Our Clothes Off," Jermaine Stewart. Like that was like "We don't have to take our clothes off." Like mind you, don't ever play that song in a gay bar. They hate you. They will straight up hate you and escort you out. But I have to say my favorite abstinence song was Syda Garrett's. She's the writer of "I'm Talking to the Man in the Mirror" from Michael Jackson, and she really got to the point of abstinence. Her song was called "I Refuse to Be Loose." Our next comedian coming to the stage is Rich Zito.
Thank you very much. Are we having fun? Woo! Yeah? Okay, good. Shout out to all the comics who have been up already. I know it's a long night. Give it up for them. Tonight's a bit of a bittersweet night for me. It's been a while since I've done comedy in Chicago, and I have my grandmother is 96 years old as of 2 days ago, and she wanted to be here. She loves comedy, and she really wanted to be here, and she's a little under the weather, so she can't make it. But she sent a joke. And she, you guys want to hear it?
Yeah.
And she's pretty funny. So let's give it a shot. Okay, hang on one second. Let's get it out. Right. Bear in mind, she's 96 and under the weather. All right, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Why did Gregory Peck marry the lady pickpocket?
Why?
Because he wanted to see her snatch.
Oh!
It's Grandma. Give it up for Grandma. Jesus, yearly. I'm just kidding. My grandma's been dead for 20 years. We have a technical issue, Thomas.
Sometimes you have to look down and you see the holes and then you shove it in. There, are we working? Can you hear us now? Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Yay! I'm going to hold it like this to keep it in, okay? Does that work? All
That's
right.
what she said.
Was it Drew? Was Dustin Drew? Was he here earlier? Is he still here?
Yes.
Yes. Really funny stuff. He talked about high fives. I am fascinated with the high five. I've been victimized by the high five. I have been a winner at the high five. And let me explain what I mean. Sometimes I go in for the high five and my companion or would-be co-high fiver gives me a fist bump. And that's like, it's a wake-up call. It's like, I had different expectations about where this was going. You have different intimacy expectations. You want the fist bump, I'll take the high five. And I always, if you ever played like rock, paper, scissors, I'm always missing like body language cues. Right? So like with rock, paper, scissors, I just want to give him a hug. Rock, paper, scissors, hey, come here. So it's difficult. It's difficult, and some people just have it so easy. It seems like they're just so smooth all the time. And I really admire that and envy that. There's a downside to it, obviously. My former boss, he was like that. He was a little bit too smooth with the lady subordinates that he had in the office. Receptionists, secretaries. All the coworkers, and but he was decent about it. He was the first guy to get fired for sensual harassment, which was he did it a little bit nicer. It wasn't sensual harassment. What's the score of the baseball game? Anybody know? Anybody know? Anybody tell me? No. I just moved back to Chicago, and I'm in Wrigleyville now. And I like it. I can hear the ballpark from, if my windows are open and the weather's nice, I can hear the ballpark, which is kind of cool. Yeah, it's kind of nice, and like you hear the seventh inning stretch, which is cool. And they sing it. And if you listen to the lyrics of the seventh inning stretch at a baseball game, most of it is pretty benign and okay. But the last time I heard it, there was one line that stuck out, and I think it's in the first verse. It's, take me out to the ball game, take me out to the crowd. We're in agreement that that's okay, right? Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. Okay. You gotta eat. I don't care if I ever get back. That's dark. That's an Amber Alert. So yeah, baseball. It's my favorite sport. I love baseball. I know that there's some Cubs fans, Sox fans. I'm actually genuinely interested in what the score of the game is. So if anybody wants to tell me,
1-1.
Thank you. What inning?
Top of the 8th.
Cool. So by the time I get home, I'll probably be home in time for the post game, which is my favorite part. And and the commercials. The commercials are great too, because the local commercials where they're always selling like the used car dealerships or whatever, and the athletes come on and they do the celebrity endorsements, and it's like a hostage video. With the guys reading these endorsements like, I'm Chris Bryant, third baseman of the Chicago Cubs, and it's always a home run with Schaumburg Chevrolet. The guy writing the copy for this isn't even trying. And Chris Bryant looks like he is being held captive in Baghdad or something, and he's just trying to blink twice to let everybody know that he does not actually think that it's always a home run when you go to Schaumburg Chevrolet. It's always a home run when you go to Schaumburg Chevrolet. The baseball stuff, though, the key sports endorsement, celebrity endorsement, is the coach, Mike Ditka, right? You guys love Mike Ditka?
Yeah.
Chicago people love Mike Ditka. Mike Ditka is a funny dude, and he likes to still sell anything. And his thing is, go get the go to Schaumburg Chevrolet and tell them the coach sent you. Now, I was in the market for a Chevrolet, and Schaumburg is in driving distance. So I went ahead and took him up on the advice. I showed up in the middle of the sales floor and said, "Excuse me, the coach sent me." Didn't go great. Thank you, guys have been great. Thank you so much.
Rich Zito, everybody, give him a round of applause. We're having some issues with the microphone. Just be careful. You have to shove it in tight at the bottom. We're going to bring up our next comedian. Give a round of applause for Robert Rowe.
Thank you. So, I went to a party recently and I was asked to leave because I had started waving my junk around. The hosts of the party did not like that, and I said, "Hey, you said this was a gender reveal party." So, I'm not a fan of older people on Facebook. I don't like the statuses that they post when they say things like, "The 70s, when playing meant going outside, your neighbors were people you knew, and if you didn't eat what mom fixed for dinner, you didn't eat at all." Really? I don't think the 70s were that nice for every single person who grew up back then. I think for some, it was more like the 70s, when a car accident meant that your head hit the dashboard. A sex offender was just some neighbor who seemed a little weird. And if you were in a wheelchair, well, you were on your own. No one posts stuff like that, though, and watch, in 20 or 30 years, my generation, the millennials, we won't be posting stuff like that either. We won't be saying stuff like, the 20 teens, when rapists sat on the Supreme Court, cops got away with homicide, and if you were a woman, your body was the object of a political debate. No one's going to say stuff like that. No one's going to say stuff like that. We're going to say stuff like, the 20 teens, when Game of Thrones was on TV, and avocado toast was on the menu at every restaurant. And if you played Pokemon Go at the age of 38, that was okay. So one of my previous jobs, I had a female coworker who forced herself on me, platonically, and I don't like that. I never liked that. I never liked it when somebody thought that I was their friend just because they said so. I never liked that. I remember when I was in first grade, there was a kid in my class who forced himself on me, platonically, and he gave me a really dumb reason for why I should be his friend. He actually said to me, "Robert, you have to be my friend, because I think I knew you a long time ago." What? A long time ago? You're 6. There's no such thing as a long time ago. Fast forward about 10 years later, I was in high school, and a kid in one of my classes introduced himself to me by saying, "I have no friends." Weirdly enough, that didn't make me want to be his friend. Also weird, he did not shoot up the school. Spineless idiot. The previous job that I mentioned, I had that job when I was living in Philadelphia. And for those of you who don't know, Philadelphia is a sanctuary city, and Trump doesn't like that because he thinks that sanctuary just means that immigrants will come and commit crimes. Here's my question, though. How is a crime any worse if it's committed by an immigrant? I don't think anyone's ever gotten mugged and the next day they told their friend, "Oh, it was awful last night. This guy with a gun came up to me, he took my wallet, my phone, and the worst part was he didn't even speak English." You know, a few years ago, a woman got killed by a drunk driver who happened to be an immigrant, and immediately conservatives were saying, "See, this is why we can't let these people into our country." Why? Because they're taking away opportunities from American drunk drivers? Here's something. I don't think you should be allowed to say that border security is important to you if you don't live in a border state. Seriously, you'll be hearing these people saying, "Illegal immigrants are a threat to my community." And it's like, jackass, you live in New Jersey. I guarantee you, no one who is actually crossing the border is saying, "USA, land of opportunity. Now, which way to Hackensack?" All right, guys, I think that's all I want to do. I'll give it back to your host, Thomas Button.
Robert Rule, everybody! Yes! We're gonna keep it going. We're bringing up our next comedian, Kim Cook.
Hey guys, can you hear me okay?
Woo!
Tell. Hello. Well, as you can probably tell by my haircut, I will ask to speak to a manager. And after, I will receive a gift card. I'm Kim Cook. It's weird having the last name is something I do not do well. But I'm lucky because my husband, Andrew, is British, so he's cool with it. Yeah. It's like, it's all right, Kim. It's not like I've ever tasted good food. So, you know, even though we technically speak the same language, it's hard because there's still some misunderstandings. Like, the biggest misunderstanding we had is when Andrew came home and announced, "I've got spotted dick." That is not something you want to hear your husband say, right? It's not really anything you want to hear anybody say, right? Unless maybe it's someone from the Secret Service and that's the code name for the president, right? Spotted dick has exploded on Twitter. I repeat, spotted dick has exploded on Twitter. So I quickly learned that spotted dick is a British pudding. Yeah, the emergency room doctor explained it to me while she was cleaning up Andrew's stab wounds. Leave it to England to have dessert that sounds just like an STD. Right? So, having a teenage daughter is hard. Oh, I don't have any children. No, I just know how awful I was when I was 16. And I was dressing like I was 21 and working the late shift at a strip bar. Yeah, it was not pretty. I recently heard my mom tell my husband, when when Kim was 16, I would have gladly traded her for 2 stale Snicker bars and a quarter. Yeah, what kind of screwed up barter system is that? Like, oh dear, I forgot my wallet and I need some quarters for the meter. Well, ma'am, we here at the Quick Trip will sometimes barter. Oh, well, I was hoping to get a tuna sandwich and 4 quarters. Well, we got 2 stale Snicker bars and a quarter. What do you have? Kim, get over here! Yeah. It's bad. So, you guys, growing up, a girl in my family often came with its own drama. Like, my mom, when she was 16, she had it hard because she got pregnant with my older sister, Carrie. And when I was 16, I used to love to bring that little bit of information up as like my trump card. When I would break curfew, I'd be like, Kim, you're late. Oh yeah? When you were pregnant with Carrie in high school, you were late with your period. Oh yeah. My mother was not impressed. She's like, Kimberly Allison, since you are not a virgin, and you just happen to not be pregnant at the moment, we're gonna chalk that up to one thing and one thing only. Good luck, not good management. I know, that was like my mom's PC way of calling me a fortunate hussy. Yay. You guys, I was recently looking at old photos of myself as a teenager to reconnect with that angsty, dark lip-liner girl that I used to be, and there was this other part that used to be unruly and out of control. It was my eyebrows. Yeah, my mom would say, oh, honey, your eyebrows are thick, just like that celebrity. Thanks, Mom. You mean Brooke Shields? No, honey, Walter Cronkite. She was still pissed about the other thing. And I was like, well, on the plus side, my eyebrows are amazing at announcing the news. They're like, from Dallas, Texas, President Kennedy has died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. And for those of you that don't know who Walter Cronkite is, enjoy your youth. I recently did this joke in Alabama, and they didn't know who President Kennedy was. Because they don't know a lot of things. So recently, I decided I was going to up my eyebrow game, and, right, you do that, you know. And I made an appointment at Ulta at the Benefit Brow Bar. Woo! Yeah, because according to their website, it's where girls in the know get brows on the go. So I went to my appointment, and I was greeted by Caitlin. You guys all know Caitlin.
Oh, God.
22 perfect boobs, not yet jaded by life woes. I'm just like, hey, I am Caitlin with the Y. I was like, oh, well, if I ever get a job at Starbucks and I take your order, keep that in mind. She's like, well, that's funny, because today I'm going to be your barista, your eyebrow barista. Are we going to take off a little? Or a latte! Get it? So, Kim, girl, tell me, what are your eyebrow goals? I was like, eyebrow goals? That they finish high school before getting knocked out? That they stay together through thick and thin, yet are strong and independent of each other? And I'm glad you guys are somewhat amused, because you know who wasn't? Caitlin! With the Y, but it's okay, because I just asked to speak to the manager, and I received a gift card for a free next visit. Thanks,
Kim Cook, everybody! Now, Kim, you mentioned Brooke Shields, and I have always been asked, Thomas, when did you know you were gay? And the answer was when I was in my second kindergarten in first grade, living in Window Rock, Arizona, the capital headquarters of the Navajo Reservation. I was one of 3 white kids in my elementary school. It started early. I don't know. Whenever I'm surrounded by white people, I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna lynch, aren't they? Damn. But I knew I was gay because me and the neighbor boy, we would go up into the mountains of Window Rock, Arizona, and play the Blue Lagoon. He would take off his shirt, and I would paint out my eyebrows with a Sharpie like Brooke Shields. Our next comedian requires no painting. Give a round of applause for Patrick Fowler.
Thank you. I'd like to start off with an announcement. I'm a hat guy. It's a conscious choice I made. It's changed my life because people treat me like my age when I have it on. I'm 26 years old and this is what I look like without it. Oh, holy shit, where'd that cool comedian go? This accountant get on stage so fast, thought tax season was over. Yeah. Look like two different people with it and without it. You know, with it, I'm a cool, edgy comedian. I tell jokes about dead stuff. And without it, I look like I'm in season 730 of Forensic Files on Netflix. Not even like committing the cool crimes anymore so late in the season. Killing people over their near-mint Yu-Gi-Oh collection, they said was mint. Still money in those cards, guys. So, PSA. PSA for people on the radio, too, I guess. I don't know. For those of you that don't on the radio don't know what I look like, I look like you, probably. This is an AM station, right? This is yeah, I look exactly like you. I kind of lean into this look, though, because I'm trying to date girls with daddy issues, and that's how you find them. Some of these aren't jokes, like the girl I'm dating now, she didn't know how to ride a bike before our 5th date. Our 6th date was me taking her to the emergency room, because I couldn't teach her how to ride a bike. Well, thank God that cool comedian's back, am I right? Not like that other guy. Yeah. I balded gracefully for about 9 years, and for the rest of it, I'm gonna bald shamefully. Cover it up, hide it, do everything I can. Maybe get a toupee just to, try it out for a little bit. It's a good way to go. I sound like I'm bitter about it, and I am. But I'd be a little bit less bitter about it if I didn't have hair on me literally everywhere else. Like I love the school of thought where if like a part of body hair touches your pubic hair, that also becomes pubes. So like my surface area is like 98% pubes at this point. And honestly, I'd kill myself over if I weren't so afraid that if I slit my wrist, more pubes would come out. Like that scene in Ex Machina where that dude slit his wrist and more pubes came out. That's exactly what happened in that movie. No need to see it now. Spoilers. I wasn't the first of my friends to get chest hair, but I was the first of my friends to get back hair. It's a much less important milestone that they did not appreciate, like I had to learn to. Anyway, I live in an apartment. This isn't me bragging. This is just me talking about my life. I pay my rent online. I am bragging about that, though. Live in the future. Future's nice and safe because they make me type in a password before I can pay my rent. So no one can steal my identity and then pay my rent for me. Those are my two greatest fears. Someone paying my rent with my identity and then also calling my mom with my identity. It's the worst. I can't have any pets in my building. So to get around, then I make balloon animals. And then turn my fans on so it's like they're running around. But I'm not good at making balloon animals, so they're all ferrets. And I hate ferrets. So I end up stabbing them all. Which is probably why I shouldn't have real pets anyway. A lot of people don't laugh at that joke, and by extension, you guys are people. Congratulations. Probably good news, but it's an old joke. I have a roommate now. He has a cat. Our pets don't get along. He's killed 5 of my boys. It's been a tragic time. He killed Jeremy, Trevor, Braden, Green Jeremy. Green Jeremy that drew a little mustache on, so it's like evil Green Jeremy. All gone. And I don't have the lung capacity to blow them up anymore because I smoke weed. You don't need to clap for that. It's not cool anymore. It's going to be legal. It's not cool anymore. So anyway, I did take a drug test for my job. I'm an accountant. That wasn't just a lie I made. I did take a drug test for that. And I don't even do I just smoke weed. And it doesn't make sense because my company sells hot dog coupons. So if I'm not high, I'm not passionate about my job. And it's like I've already temped there for 6 months, so even if I didn't get the job, I've already stolen enough hot dog coupons to make it worth my while anyway. I'm eating hot dogs for life, for free. It's actually my merch after the show. I've got packets of 100 hot dog coupons. If you want, start extreme couponing. Pick up a new hobby. But yeah, I studied for this drug test. It was I got one of those at-home urine tests to like make sure it was pure stuff. And it was one of the ones where like if you get 2 lines, that means you pass on the thing. And my second one was like really thin, so I called the number on the box trying to find out, am I going to pass? And their voicemail was just, if you get 2 lines, you pass no matter how thin, click. Like so many paranoid stoners are calling out just wondering, are you going to find me, man? So I finally go in for like the real one, I'm waiting for an hour and a half, which I didn't expect. And finally get into the room, and it turns out it's a blood test. But luckily there's enough blood in my urine to pass either one.
Patrick Fowler, everybody! He chose a different headway, I guess. Now, Patrick, I relate to you. I wanted an exciting career, fast-filled living life, and I became an accountant. It's okay, I sit at the desk and play with numbers. I'm actually not even an accountant. I'm like the bastard stepchild of accounting. I'm payroll.
Oh, boo!
Now, I think that's because I was bullied so much in high school that I chose a career that unless I do something wrong, you leave me alone! I don't bother you, leave me alone. I paid you correctly, don't knock on my door. But I recognize you being a temp, and I didn't have hot dog coupons, but there was a time I was temping, and they were like, "Oh yeah, they have free breakfast here," and I was like, "That wasn't free breakfast. That was free breakfast, free lunch, and free dinner." That was I would just stock up. Like, I'm glad they passed those laws that you have to carry your own bag, and people just thought I shopped every day. Yeah, Mikey and I ate well. Yes, we did. Who knew that Rice Krispie treats could be a meal in and of itself? We're going to bring up our next comedian. Give a round of applause for Taylor Nielson.
All right. I always like to set up my sets a very certain way. With one of these, You know what this is?
What?
Power stance. With confidence just welling up inside of me, I used to just stand there, like an idiot. I got a power stance. Okay, so hello. My name's Taylor Nielson, and there's a few things I don't understand about the human experience. One is certain sayings, like you've heard the one that says, "Don't open up that can of worms." And I don't get that, because I feel like, as far as bugs go, worms are pretty unintimidating, there might be other bugs more suited for scaring people from opening cans, like spiders. Oh no. So without further ado, this is my impression of someone opening up a can of worms versus opening a can of spiders. All right, let's start with worms. Ew. Spiders. I don't like to get controversial, but I think I am tonight. Not just with that last joke, but I'm gonna get into a controversy a little bit. And here's the funny thing I realize about controversies. With controversies, you've got two sides, and each one feels a certain way. And that's. Yeah. So, should we get right into it then? This is politics. What do we think? What do you think? Politics? Yeah. So, what is with the U.S. Postal Service. I mean, I'm not saying the USPS is a patriarchy, okay? But you gotta admit, it's a male-centered system. On your eyes, come on. That joke works because there's two meanings to the word male. I want to tell you a real story from my life real quick. When I have a friend who's a pirate from the 1600s, and we went out to lunch one time, and he got a pastrami, as pirates do. And he ate it. He is still a little sick to the stomach. While we were talking, making conversation. He tells me he's killed almost 25 people. I said, well, you're a pirate. That's part of the line of work. But secretly, I'm holding it against him. Anyways, he gets food poisoning from a pastrami sandwich, and we have to go to the bathroom. But he's never used a 21st century bathroom before. We go in there, and we got to decide which stall he's going to use. And so I'm thinking he uses the handicap stall because he's got two hooks on his hands, But at the same time, right, he doesn't deserve it because he's a pirate, But he ended up using the handicap stall, and he goes in there, and forgot the rest of it. No. He got what's coming to him because, he had to wipe. They had two hooks. Come on. That pirate put the R in hemorrhage. That day. All right. So I think to close it out tonight with something a little different. We've seen a musical number very, very quickly. This is a more serious part of my performance, so please don't laugh. So, where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from? Cotton Eye Joe. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from? Cotton Eye Joe. That song means a lot to me. It's the last song I heard before my grandpa passed away. At least he was supposed to have passed away by now. Hospice was supposed to call, so I gotta get going. Thank you very much, Taylor Nielson. Good night.
Taylor Nielson, everybody. It's okay, there was a threat of hooked hands. I'm not going to shake his hand. We're going to keep it going. Our next comedian, she's been on my radio show, Bottoms of the Barrel, on Q4 Radio, AM 1680, Q4.org. Give a round of applause for Sophia Smarandescu.
Wow, give it up for Taylor, everybody.
Yeah!
I love a man who can use power tools, right? Yes. I know I look like my parents are divorced. Yep. I was also one of those kids who was exempt from sex ed. Not for religious reasons, it was just because I was weird. They were afraid what I would do. Maybe eat all the bananas. Yep.
Good to see you. Thanks for the candy.
I also, when I was a kid, I grew up going to gay pride parades. Yep. Give it up for me. Thank you. What I'm trying to say is the first penis I ever saw was painted silver. My family also moved around a lot when I was a kid. It was because my mom was in grad school, which is the pussy version of a military family. Yeah. My parents are both Romanian, and growing up, I loved the way my dad said certain words like millionaire. Growing up, my dad liked to keep me grounded by constantly reminding me that I'm not a millionaire. And he would just do this while he would just randomly shout at me when I was doing normal things. He would be like, "You're not the millionaire!" Like, I know, I'm eating breakfast. But he also do something good happen. He'd be like, "It's rice, right? It's like we are a millionaire!" We're just at Denny's, alright? But his name is Bassrab, as in I Bassrab that booty. Right. Doesn't it sound like no? Alright. Nope. Dude, it totally sounds like a culinary.
No.
Alright, I'm just kidding. I'm quitting on this. I've lived here for a little less than 3 months. I'm pretty new to the area. I moved over from yonder in Montana. Ever heard of it? Yep. That whole state looks like a butter package. Yep. I live by this really exclusive club for millionaires called the Yellowstone Club. Has anybody heard of it? Yep, he has, yep. He's probably just taking shots. Alright. But yeah, so I live by this really exclusive club, and to join the club, you have to pay $300,000 just to join the club to prove that you have the money. Yep, true. I wish we had equivalent vacation spots for poor people. Like, if you want to go on vacation in Branson, Missouri, you just submit a video of you getting in a fist fight with your mom. In a Big Lots. There's only one rule for the super exclusive vacation spot for poor people, and it's this: if you want to go swimming, you have to wear a Tasmanian Devil t-shirt in the pool. Yep. Alright. I love laughing at poor people. Alright, yep. Give it up for this dude. It's okay though, because I grew up poor. I was so poor growing up, I had to take tennis lessons from this guy named Pervert Mike. Yep. He used to tell me to wear tighter shorts because they were more aerodynamic. My dad wanted me to be a professional tennis player when I was a kid. Which is an okay dream if your kid's like 8, but I'm 24 now, and he still takes me out to the public courts and screams at me about my form. It's starting to look like I'm his wife. He's trying to get into shape. I was recently going through a breakup. Anybody ever do that? Nice. I feel like breakups are like action movies. You think it's over, then there's another fight scene. The all-women sequels are the best. Oh. The Roxos involved, right? We were breaking up in public. You probably have seen us. I feel like breaking up in public's a lot like getting in a car accident. You think it's the fault of the one who's crying. And then there's an awkward conversation like 3 weeks later about whose fault it was. Alright, that one's new, that's why it sucks ass. Anybody here own a humidifier? You guys look a little hydrated? Yeah. Alright. I believe the humidifier is the rudest appliance. Hear me out. You put water in it, it spits it right out. Yep. I put chocolate milk in mine and it was finally satisfied. We're all supposed to, for those of you on the radio and here in the room, we're all supposed to weave in a current event. So I'm going to follow the curb and talk about 9/11. I love when people talk about 9/11. When they're like, what were you doing during 9/11? It's like, why do you think I did it? I was 7 in Canada. But I knew it had to be bad because it was the first time I came home from school and saw my mom watching the news. Alright, by the way, if you're concerned about this, I'm okay. Alright, thank you. Peace out.
Sophia Smarandescu, everybody, who has tabs on her chest that I thought was just part of her dress. Fashion first, Sophia. Fashion first. I hope everything's okay. I don't know what that's about, but okay. Fashion first. World peace? No. fashion first.
Yeah.
Our last comedian, he has hair I used to have. Look into my face and see your follicle future. Give a round of applause for Jack Allen.
Jack.
Hello. Thank you for sticking around. Everyone else already did my material. I say this because a couple other comics talked about this, but who here is using the dating apps? Yeah, who's using the dating apps? They are, the appetizers in the meal of seduction. I tried to sell that slogan to Tinder, and needless to say, they swiped left.
No.
Oh man, I've been using the dating apps. I went on Tinder and I banged a smelly person. Okay. Maybe that's more the exception than the rule with me. Okay, here is how much of a sexually passive beta male I am. I have made platonic friends on Tinder. Did you hear me correctly? I have made long-term, to borrow a term from Phil, boink buddies who I cherish. And one such friend, she recently invited, I've known her for a couple of years. She recently invited me to be a part of her wedding party. Yes, and they're doing it all non-traditional too. So she has asked me to be her man of honor. And I am very freaking honored. That is how I have been using the dating apps. And the founder of Tinder's probably rolling in his grave. Okay, the app is like 7 years old. I know he's like alive. But this joke, he's dead. He's just like looking down like, God, how come you're using my perfectly good sex app for your camaraderie? Come on! Lay some pipe already! And then Jesus just walks up, looks down at me, is like, cuck. You know? But I like to think that I am the embodiment of everything that the alt-right fears masculinity is devolving into. Like, they are all just so terrified that they're going to turn into this. And I love holding that power over them. Like, no, I'm such a cuck, too. Like, I have so many platonic female friends. I love musical theater. I eat strawberry ice cream. Come at me. And just to top all that off, I keep my room dirty just to spite Jordan Peterson. Okay, if you don't know who that is, or what the hell I just said, then good for you for having a social life. Okay, I have one more serious thing I want to talk to you about tonight. Meryl Streep has a net worth of $90 million. Oh. Beyonce has a net worth of $355 million. Woo! Jim Davis, the creator of Garfield, has a net worth of $800 million. Imagine drawing a picture of a goddamn cat and getting $1 million for it. Now imagine doing that 799 more times. This man, he had one idea, Jim Davis. He was like, I have this great idea for a cartoon. It's about this whiny virgin and his sadistic cat. And they verbally abuse each other all day. And it's not funny or cute at all. And this man is on track to die a billionaire. No one can tell you not to follow your dreams again. Like, if your dreams like pull your dick out on a crowded bus and hope that somebody gives you enough money to buy a yacht made of gold, go for it. Anything is possible when you follow in the footsteps of the man who drew normal. Hate that normal. Now, imagine milking quips out of hating Mondays for nearly half a century and becoming as rich as the Prince of Monaco. I am milking this for a while. Now, this man's fingers are magic. This man's fingers are magic. If I were ever diagnosed with cancer, I would not seek out chemotherapy or conventional treatments, no. I would go directly to Jim Davis's house. And I would have the 73-year-old cartoonist rub his miraculous fingers upon me. And I would be cured. And we would feed each other lasagna by candlelight as we watch the sunset. Thank you. My name is Jack Allen.
Jack Allen, yes, teaching us about Jim Davis. It's worth $800 million. I'm a huge Madonna fan, and she's only worth $500 million. Those are $500 million vocals right there on Madonna. She's making more money than Beyonce. Keep that in mind. Whenever you feel bad about yourself, keep that in mind. Wow. Now, does Beyonce's money go into Jay-Z's because they're married? Because he just made $1 billion.
Yeah, I think they probably had a prenup. I bet it's separate.
I don't know. Kanye's thinking about prenup, and we saw him marry Kim without one.
What?
I don't think they have a prenup.
That's wild.
He's also a Trump supporter who wore those MAGA hats and harassed the entire cast of SNL. He is not the man to go to for guidance. That's so true. Why do we listen to celebrities for views on life? Doesn't Gwyneth Paltrow squat over the humidifier that was earlier mentioned for health reasons? And the only thing I can say is God, I don't want to watch her movies. Those are unhealthy. I won't lie. She's very similar to Julia Roberts in Steel Magnolias or Sandra Bullock in The Vanishing. That I do like Gwyneth Paltrow in Seven because she dies. All right, this has been Bottoms of the Barrel on Q4 Radio, AM 1680, Q4.org. We do it show here every Tuesday, third Tuesday of the month. Jason's behind the bar. Give a round of applause for Jason. Look, there's only one person here who can offer me trade. The rest of you have to buy me a drink. Now, don't forget to tip Jason, give him some drinks if you wish, and I don't oppose if you buy me a drink. And we do the radio show on Q4 Radio, AM 1680, Q4.org, every Saturday, 5 to 7 p.m., Bottoms of the Barrel, aiming low for success. When they say, how low are you aiming? I said, did the show happen? I said, yes. And they then go, so, success. I don't promise quality. It's a show with no budget, no future, no morals, and have a great night. Magic Hour is next, and next time you leave your house, be a decent person. Bye!